Okay, moving on to swimming. Project Oceanology on the Yukon campus, boats charging around the point where people are swimming and kayaking. And the stop sign at Pine Island doesn't slow anybody down at the entrance to Jupiter Point from Shanakaza. Yukon has been informed, but nothing has been done to improve the situation. Can you please help? Who wants to address this?
Jeff.
Okay, please.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name's Ian Morrison. I am the captain and fleet operations director at Project Oceanology. Good evening, everyone. So, last July 28th, we received a phone call and an email from one of the Jupiter Point residents, who happens to be a professor at Avery Point. She relayed an observation from her nephew alleging unsafe operation of two of our small boats along that stretch from Bushy Point up into Baker Cove. So I investigated that. I also did some research in the Connecticut statutes, and yes, on page 50 of the state regulations, there is a seasonal no-wake zone in this area. So I immediately took all my boat operators and made them aware of it, and told them that from this point forward, that area is to be considered a no-wake zone, and you should operate as such.
And it's year-round. It's
Okay.
been changed in local ordinance year-round.
Okay, good to know. We're going to treat it year-round as anyway.
Okay.
So you shouldn't have any more issues with us. Okay.
Okay,
All
right.
But I also like to add that I do agree with, the first, when I talked to my crew, the first thing they said is, why isn't the no-wake zone marked? So we're going to go at this again, but that one buoy, most people perceive that as just the mooring field, as the no-wake zone, not the whole cove and the whole Pequannock River all the way up to Route 1. So I'm going to agree that I think some more marking would be very helpful, because I believe most people are not speeding deliberately or maliciously, they just don't know any better. And you can argue they should, but of course they don't, and that's the reality of it. Just like people speed on the highway and know they're not supposed to. So I will say that we will handle our operations accordingly from this point forward, and we have from that day forward. And you shouldn't have any more issues with us. And if you do, please let us know. And we will proceed in that way accordingly. But I do agree that additional marking, especially the north end by the entrance of the Pequannock River, would be a great place for one.
Well, we can put some informational signs there, but we can't put any more regulatory
I
signs.
understand, but I do think most people are just operating like that because they don't realize any difference. Whether they should or not is.
Understand. Okay, my swimming area is near a boat launch and speeding boaters pose a risk. What measures can I take to protect swimmers?
I would say report to law enforcement.
Okay? All right, a boater has just departed from a boat launch area and encountered a swimmer along the boat path. What actions can the boater take to prevent the swimmer from swimming into the boat path
Chief.
in the future?
Got my number on it. Yeah, it's the same thing. So swimmers do not have the right of way where boating is gonna be, right? So it's the swimmer's responsibility at that point to avoid the area, short of a designated swimming area or shallows, et cetera, that there is a beach area, and then the boats can still come in there unless they're restricted, but they have to come in at a perpendicular angle, 6 miles an hour. So there's a whole set of rules that come in with beaching boats. So the best thing to do, if they are within that 100-foot rule of your docks and you're out there swimming, you're not in the boating lane per se, or channel per se. The difficulty obviously is, as the councilman was saying, is the boats come right up to the dock because that's where the channel is. So if that's where the natural channel is and you're swimming in that area, you're wrong, and you have to move out of that area. If the boat hazards you in a non-channel area, then you're going to report that to us, and we'll take care of that.
Chief, there's one thing that I really don't understand. The law says when they come in, they have to be 100 feet from dock, right?
Not 100 feet, they have to be slow no wake within 100 feet.
Correct. Slow no weight within 100, you can operate within 100 feet. You have to be 6 miles an hour or less at that point.
So I misunderstood that.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure it is.
You can
How is it
operate up to 2
that,
feet off your dock.
All right,
so-
sorry, hold on.
Wow.
How is it that over at Eastern Point Beach, the private beach, they have buoys out there, they put out for swimmers,
Swim area, right?
a swim area?
Yeah.
It's a designated swim area by deep. I
That's
issued
a
that permit
permanent-
as well.
That's permitted as well.
So could we?
And that
get
is permitted.
If we
Both
want?
Both the Shanticasa Beach Club and Eastern Point Beach is permitted.
Right, okay, can private,
Well, I'm gonna go to the next question if you'll give me an opportunity.
what's that?
The next question is what you're getting ready to ask.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the next question, can a waterfront resident install floating buoys to designate a specific area for swimming to improve safety?
Right,
Who wants to address this?
And my answer is yes. You'd have to apply through a permit application through DEEP. And I just want to let you know that we require an improvement location survey, which is about $2,000 or $3,000. And that has to be submitted with the permit application.
okay, so.
Did that answer your
It can
question,
be
sir?
done if we submit an application to the state and with a check for $2,000?
No, you would have to hire a
Do a
Connecticut
survey.
licensed surveyor.
Oh, geez.
And I would recommend talking to me beforehand. I'll come meet you on site before you have that expense,
Yeah, yeah.
just to make sure that the state is something the state would consider.
So
Because
one of the things that the municipality has learned over the years is if we're about to do something that requires a permit and it requires additional expenditure of funds, is we talk to the state regulatory agency, in this case, DEP, get them to come talk to us so we can show and say, here's what we want to do. And they can say, yes, but, or no, but, and then we can go there before we expend funds and get disapproved. So my recommendation is if you as private citizens want to do that, make sure you're reaching out to DEP first.
Right.
So work with them and
Right.
then they'll walk you through the process. Now, those permits for the buoys and all, is that gonna have to come before harbor management? So it's gonna have to come before harbor management as well. Because you're putting something out in the water, we have a harbor management plan that discusses those kinds of things.
Which isn't a big hurdle.
Harbor management, the least of the problem.
Yeah.
Harbor management is not, yes, I agree with you. But I just wanna make sure that you understand you still have that step in the process as
Yeah, I
well.
got it, I got it.
Okay, let's go from swimming to kayaking, paddle